Gentlemen, have a chance to look at the minutes?
Yep.
Any additions or corrections?
Nope.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Gary, seconded by Tracy to approve the minutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And item 4, at my Central Iowa Juvenile Detention meeting, got a copy of the audit, state audit, and as I don't know, you didn't forward a copy to them, did you? Basically, what you're going to find is on the back is kind of the important things. They had pretty much one hiccup. They did not get it in the newspaper timely enough for, and that's backwards. You can flip it over. I just showed you what they were written up on.
Mm-hmm.
So that was basically it. But other than that, I'll try to give other stuff on the report. But that is the audit. We have to accept the audit is what we do.
Everything's cool.
Yeah, the
Kind of
commission.
acknowledge it.
Exactly. I don't believe we need to take any formal action or anything on that. Do we?
Well, you could approve on there. I would maybe just acknowledge, make a motion that you acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Is that the one that come by email?
What's that?
Did it come by email?
That?
Yeah.
No, I got that.
Oh, okay, that's why I didn't see it.
They were going to email your office.
Okay. I think there was some from Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
Maintenance guys will go to Erin Monahan's house today with the truck and get her files.
The DCAT.
Since for the fiscal year, I think I should have those contracts here.
And I printed off that contract.
I'll
Here.
put that on here too.
Okay.
Oh, you have the little one? Okay, good, so I don't have to print that part.
That's okay.
There was 3 different things.
Oh, okay. Well, this is, I think, the only one I got. The one that requires a signature.
They're coming in. Oh, I'm supposed to mention that Dick saw on the agenda the vacant office at the service center. He would like to use it for his man cave.
Bet he would.
He thought that was good. Said he would decorate it nicely.
Yeah.
Ron coming in today?
Yeah, I think towards the end,
Okay.
I thought we'd let Lexa and Melinda come up, so I was shooting for around 10ish, but I said I wasn't sure.
This
To
is,
discuss like for number 10 on down.
sure.
Myron will not be here, but.
Right.
So, if Tracy wanted to update on Michelle's birthday or not.
Okay, we'll get into that officially.
Let's get a motion to accept this audit.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Gary, seconded by Tracy to accept the Central Iowa Juvenile Detention Audit, annual audit. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
This,
Yeah, thanks.
maybe set it up here, since I'm getting everything confused. Okay, well, do we want to jump forward to item 12? We're waiting for Mark. He was on at 9:05, it's 9:06. Okay.
I met with the mayor, Lonnie Speckler, on Wednesday. morning. The council themselves do know. They're afraid it would be a mess in the city of Shelburne, like we have the mess now. So the council says absolutely not. They do not want it in city limits. Want nothing to do with
It's too bad. You know, if you drive by the one in Van Horn, it seems to be fairly tidy.
it.
Even the one here in Benton
Mm-hmm.
is too bad most of the time. And I do understand that things do get contaminated, but down there, there's no such thing as recycle. It's all contaminated each and every time.
You suppose if we put up signs, clean it up or lose it?
There's signs there. I mean, they got signs. I mean, I stopped there Wednesday after I met with Lonnie again, and I guess I was gonna call Meyer and I didn't. I was curious when it was dumped last because it was over 3/4 of the way full. And there's a lot of stuff that was dumped in there. There was like 4 black garbage bags. I did not open them up. I did not see what was in them black garbage bags. I had good clothes on. I didn't want to get into it. But there was a lot of, being on the landfill, I know your water bottles, they are not recyclable. And there was a lot of them in there.
You're supposed to throw
So
them away,
that-
aren't they?
Yes.
Isn't that weird? They're just-
I know
It'd be in plastic.
it's the wrong
Yeah.
kind of plastic, you know, and there was a lot of them in there. So I mean, that alone was contaminated, you know, technically. So I guess my feelings is, if there's only a few that's screwing it up for everybody, but if this happens again, it's gone, my opinion.
Well, this is my thoughts on it. That's why, you know, I'll have no problem. But just because you take it out of there doesn't mean people aren't gonna leave stuff there. At least initially. It's gonna take a while to get it.
Well, we discussed it a lot, that Lonnie agrees with me that whether you got cameras there or whatever, it's hard to press charges against somebody for littering since it's a recycling bin. They can play dumb and say, well, I consider that recycling, and that's why they put it there. But we agreed that if you get it out of there, lose the signs and put a sign that says no dumping, somebody stops and drops it off, that's littering now. That's a $100 fine.
I wonder if they've got any no dumping signs out at
Well, I'm sure
secondary roads, even something sitting on a tired rim.
Yep, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But that's, like I said, that's my feelings right now, that, you know, he said the neighbors in the surrounding area wish it would be gone.
The one neighbor that I've had the massive emails from, you know, wants the problem gone, but not the recycling. And so, I mean, it's like having your cake and eat it too.
Right.
It just, down there it doesn't seem to work. So, and I understand if somebody's throwing a bunch of paper items away, whether it's got personal information or not, paper is recycled. And you should use your common sense, make sure your name and
Do you wanna call over to Mossman's and see if he's still coming? I didn't talk, I don't know who can help him.
I have no clue who put him on there. There was a comment made last week. Well, let's finish this first. Okay.
I'm gonna stop off, because otherwise we're gonna stop on it.
All right. So what do you propose? Are you saying wait till Myron gets back, see if we have signage? See,
Well, we can, I feel, give them, I said it last week, give them one last chance. And if it ends up, either the load, if it gets rejected for contaminants,
Hi, Shelley,
or
this is Haley Ripple. How are you?
ends up with garbage on the outside
Yeah.
of the
Is he
recycling
still coming
unit,
over?
it loses.
Oh, that's fine. We just want to make sure he's still coming in.
Yeah, I don't know if we need
He's
it.
fine.
I hate to put a,
I did.
that
Oh,
costs
that's
money
fine.
too,
I
put a
did
blip
put him
in
on
the
this.
paper about it,
Jim was still coming.
that maybe the ones that
All
do
right,
use
no
it,
problem.
they will
Bye-bye.
help police it, if they wanna keep it.
That might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, but then, like you said, then you're still spending money.
You're only gonna get the ones that actually get the paper or read the
Yeah.
paper. So, you know, it almost needs to have a sign on premise, on site, that says, you know, no trash allowed, or, you know, recycle only. And with a list of what recycle is.
It's there.
Yeah.
Them signs are all there.
Right.
So I guess that's what I look
Yeah, I
at.
don't know. I don't know how to,
I'd give them one more chance. I mean, we've been debating that ever since I become a supervisor.
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's not a new problem,
No,
and so,
It's
I-
funny that it's just that one.
well, everything else is somewhat policed, I call it. It's under I.
correct. You know, one here in Benton is just across from the courthouse. So it's very visible. One in Van Horn is very visible. I'm not sure where the other ones are. I know there's 5 or 6 of them.
The one in
Throughout.
Van Horn is just as visible as the one in Shellsburg.
No, well,
Well, but it's
there's
within
more
this-
houses right across the road there.
Yeah.
And
From the north
it is
side.
within the city limits. You know,
So are we saying that we could maybe try and move it?
That's what I tried working out last week.
right, and I
Yeah.
tried it, you know, a month ago.
Yeah,
You don't wanna do nothing.
well,
Well, I think if it's left up to Lonnie,
yeah,
you know, the mayor, it'd be different, but it's the council. He took it before the council.
You
And I
can't
think
put it
he-
in front of a councilman's house and move it around.
Well, I think he probably reiterated to you, didn't
Hi,
he?
Mark.
Good
I
morning,
already
Mark.
called over to make sure you
You
were
did?
coming. Yeah.
But he basically reiterated to you what the council's actions were.
yep,
Okay,
You can take
yep,
it off.
absolutely not.
Oh, Mark.
sure.
Won't even consider it.
My glasses fogged up, that's the only problem.
Well, it's to be tabled for now.
Hey, Mark, we'll be back next Tuesday.
Don't look at me.
Is that what you're saying? Myron's not around.
Right,
He's off today.
But he told me to go ahead and put it on, so.
yeah, well, like I said, the only thing, if we put it on there, that if load starts, is rejected for contaminants, or the file ends up outside the dumpster, yeah, we're gonna lose it.
Well, then why don't we put it on for next week?
Okay,
And,
Or maybe you should put a notice too or something about that. More so.
We could put something in, I don't know. We
well,
made
in
sure it was
our
in
minutes, is that what you're referring to?
well, even if the, Jim Magnifra, if he put it in his write-up,
Hear that, Jim? He always gets the recording.
are you on?
Yeah.
Okay, if he would put that in his write-up, that they're on watch, and it's
Otherwise
or
it's
else,
taken away.
either ship up, shape up, or you're gonna be shipped out.
Use it right or lose it.
All right, I'll make sure I put something in there too.
Then we
Okay.
need to find out from Myron for next week if it was rejected because of contamination.
Right. How many times lately has it been
But
rejected?
like you said, even a plastic water bottle will get rejected. So, you know, and
I don't know that people know that for sure on those.
Exactly.
So maybe
Yeah.
that should just be another.
plastic is plastic.
But like I said, I wish I did open up them 4 bags of garbage. See what was in the black, I mean, they were
Sure.
full to the top.
Right, we're gonna keep on since we got something on it.
Well, let's move on, shall we? And good morning, Mark.
Morning, how you doing, Rick?
Good, and yourself?
Good, I apologize. Being late, got a little tied up this morning, but.
Usually
about
we're
that.
late, so it's not a big deal. Well, you've got the floor, sir.
Okay, thanks. I'll pull this down just so I can talk without my glasses fogging up. Well, yeah, I got myself on the agenda to talk about billboards specifically. I talked to Mark Greenlee about this and also kind of checked around a little bit to see what other counties maybe have done. And I haven't really done a lot of research on it, but what got me thinking about it was really a few years ago when Kathy and I took a trip through the South. Never really been down there through Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi, and just driving around for a couple weeks, and I was really surprised at a couple things. First of all, how beautiful it is down there. I never imagined that Alabama and Mississippi would look like northern Minnesota with all the pines, but it was really gorgeous country. But it was striking that every now and then you'd be driving through really, really pretty countryside, and then all of a sudden you'd come to a county that just had billboards everywhere. And Georgia in particular was just horrible. I mean, Georgia's a beautiful state, but there are just billboards just everywhere. Just it got out of control. And historically, you know, Iowa has done a pretty good job of controlling billboards on state highways. And of course, the U.S. government does a really good job of enforcing billboards on federal highways, interstates. Benton County's never really been a big issue, I don't think, until I'd say maybe the last 2 or 3 years is when I started noticing it. And maybe it's been longer than that. I really didn't pay that much attention. But I've noticed that leading into most of the small towns anymore, especially it seems like in southern Benton County, you're faced with, you know, a series of sometimes several billboards along the county highways. And you know, I know they serve a purpose. They serve as advertising, of course, promoting a business. Typically, it's in that town. But I kind of wonder, in striking a balance, whether, you know, if it just stayed the same the way it is now, it's not a big issue. But if 5 years from now, all of a sudden we've got billboards, you know, just one after the other going into all of our towns. You know, I don't know if that's a good thing. At least it's not something I like to look at. I think Benton County is so pretty, and our ag countryside, especially this time of year, is so attractive that the billboards constitute, I think, a real eyesore. So I wondered if any thought had been given to that in Benton County. Not aware that it has. I called ECOG about it and talked to Tracy, who took over, I think it's Chad left, is that right? And she was very helpful, and she was going to do a little searching on it. She did send me one ordinance of Jones County that looks like it was in 2005. What she sent me is a draft, so I don't know for a fact that they adopted this ordinance, but it's really just directed at signage. It's the Jones County sign ordinance. They may have comprehensive land use zoning in Jones County. I really don't have any idea, but this portion of it, at any rate, is just directed at signs. And I found another one from another county. This is out of state that was kind of similar and printed some things off about that. And you know what it seems that they try and do with these ordinances is not zoning per se, but just guidance and restrictions on where signs can be placed, what types of signs, how big can they be, what kind of illumination you can have, you know, making sure they're not obstructing any intersections, roadways, or other safety signs and things like that. So they serve a number of purposes like that, but they go beyond that and actually prohibit any signage that's in agricultural areas. So it has to be typically it has to be either a sign that advertises a business that's on that property, and then there are limits as to the type of sign and the size you can have, or it's within a industrial or a commercial district where it's being advertised. So they don't prohibit somebody who's got a business out in the country from having a sign that says, you know, hey, I've got a repair shop here, or hey, I've got this business on my property. But they would limit the ability of people putting up billboards to advertise businesses located off the property. So that was really my only purpose in coming here, is just seeing if that's something that you guys might think is worth taking a look at. I mean, I don't know, maybe you're perfectly comfortable with unlimited restrictions on billboard construction in Benton County. I'm not, but that's what I wanted to just bring to your attention and just see what you guys were thinking about that.
Well, in the past 2 or 3 years, there's been a company that's been putting up signs, multiple signs, like they'll advertise 3 or 4 businesses or 5 or 6, and they're usually by a town. There's one north of Blairstown on the, I think it's the vet's property. It might not be, might be. There's several properties right there north of town. And I know there's one over by Atkins. I don't know about Newhall.
One outside of Newhall, Dean Polkman's.
There's 1 or 2 going into Van Horn, I noticed when I was driving down there last week.
I'm on the Shellsburg Blacktop.
Shellsburg is
You know, going on into there, going over in Urbana, going out here on 150. I mean, they're primarily on private property, from what I can see, and we don't have any restrictions, you know, county-wise. This is part of what I would call, or should be part of, a comprehensive plan, which we don't have, which, you know, we tried to get, but it didn't fly. And so,
We do have a comprehensive plan.
what's that?
Our plan just doesn't include that wording in here.
So that's kind of what it really should be, is part of, if you will. Personal opinion. So,
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think that might be a good idea, but I don't think you would necessarily have to go that far. I mean, if there is a lot of opposition to comprehensive zoning within the county, I think you could just have an ordinance on signage on billboards alone without zoning at all. Most of these, of course, prohibit any signage at all within a right-of-way, which I think makes a lot of sense. But I think they also prohibit signage that's within so many feet of a right-of-way, which basically eliminates billboards unless it meets an exemption. You know, there's like 8 exemptions in here when you can have a sign. Other than that, you don't have it. You know, right now I'm not horribly offended by the signs that are up there because there aren't that many. But if you don't have some kind of regulation, you know, again, if there's a company out there that's really promoting this, and, you know, in 5 years you could have 3 or 4 times that many, and then all of a sudden you got a big problem because they're grandfathered in, you can't do anything about it. So just something to.
It's kind of funny that you bring up the signage along the state highways, because whenever I was a kid, they didn't have rules, and I know we had, Cinderella had a sign on our farm, and it got blown down several times, and they would come put it back up. We had a bunch of stuff around that was, you know, they didn't have anything to do with the old stuff, so we got it, we used it around. I mean, that's how I remember it. They had all that stuff, and then it's all gone now, and it really looks better now than it did then. You don't need to have all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
okay, well, I think that is something that warrants consideration. But again, I'd personally like to see it into a bigger plan, have this ordinance, that ordinance, another ordinance, just, that's what I'd like to see. And you are correct, 3 to 5 years from now, there could be quite a few of them. And it's not so much the growth that bothers me, it's what happens if the gentleman doing this decides to no longer take care or change the signs out, etc. They blow down like Sidrell. And from what I see, they're pretty stout. But that's kind of a concern I have, is the upkeep and continuing to make sure that they're presentable. So, that could be another part of this billboard ordinance, the maintenance of. So, okay. And I don't know if it's in there or not, obviously.
Yeah, right. I haven't looked at comprehensive zoning at all. Really not too familiar with what all the issues might be with that. I'm kind of semi-retired now, and that's kind of moving in the direction of full retirement here. So I've got some time on my hands. If you guys want to form a committee or to look into something like this, I'd be happy to volunteer some time to do some further work on it. I mean, if you're not interested in it at all, that's fine too, but I'd be happy to offer my services to work with you guys or whoever you wanted to take a look at this. So that's it.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, you bet.
Appreciate you.
Again, I apologize for tying you up, being a little late this morning.
We were talking again. Do you want me to check with Jones County if they pass that?
Yeah, here, I'll leave it with you, Haley.
Do you have an extra copy?
I don't, but I can get another one.
We have our auditor's page and we all pass.
Yeah, no, it's 2005, but again, that's a stamped draft at the top, so I don't really know. And Tracy, it wasn't sure either when I talked to her.
I can ask Janine.
Mark Greenlee thinks that Buchanan County has some kind of a billboard ordinance, but they're not in our district, so Tracy couldn't get a copy of that. But that might be one we can take a look at too and see what they've done. I'm sure other counties.
Yeah.
There's no point in reinventing the wheel on this.
Well, I have our district auditor's meeting coming up, so maybe I'll bring it up to them and ask.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good day, folks.
Thank you.
If you find something out there.
Yeah, no promise, like she's gonna please that.
Good morning, young lady.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well, and you all?
You guys unavailable to
I think we're still upright. Kind of laid back in their chairs, but
I've
upright.
printed some also, so
Yeah, I just have the only one that I have, because you have one from Christie that has the county numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm not privy to those, so.
okay.
This is just the contract for, between DCAT and the board for supervision of our new, coordinator, Braxton, who should be here. These are signed.
You say he's going to be.
Should be here, yes.
Okay.
That's the one that will be replacing Eric.
Yes, Erin asked me to drop those off
Oh,
for her
okay.
last gag, so.
If, for the record, if we can get you to.
Yeah, I'm Kate West, and I am board president for the Benton, Iowa County Decategorization and CPPC Board and resident of Belle Plaine.
Thank you.
So, the contract will start July 13th for Braxton, with the 4th of July holiday and vacation time that folks are taking at the DHS office in Cedar Rapids. He won't be able to be trained until July 13th. So that's why there is the July 13th start date for the agreement on those. It's pretty much the same contract that we had with Aaron, just basically changing mailing address and the person. So.
Sure. Okay. And you think Braxton's gonna show? You think?
Supposed to be here,
Okay.
so.
Well, takes a little time
And
sometimes.
then,
Yeah.
I'm keeping these signed ones here, somebody's picking them up later.
Braxton's gonna be the one taking them back to
Oh,
Cedar Rapids.
they changed that then?
Yeah.
Christie had emailed me that it was gonna be,
John,
when I
have a
spoke
chance to
yesterday.
look this over.
I looked at the first one.
Yeah, that would be the problem. This is like Christy doesn't
You're
include everybody.
talking as far
okay, so she told
these.
me,
Yeah, I haven't looked at that one.
Kristen
You
Smith,
have not looked at this one.
Matt Secretary will
You need
stop
to
by
look
your
at one,
office
Gary?
at our house around 1 today.
Would you have your summary, please?
Thank you.
First I've heard of that.
Okay.
I was
Do you
told
want me
that,
to email her quick before?
yes,
Okay.
because I was told that we had to
That one you
either
did.
Braxton had to drop them
That's
off
the one
or
we're
that they had to be
signing.
overnighted.
That's fine.
So if she's changed her mind. She has not included everybody.
It's communication, that's always an issue, huh?
Oh, yes.
Now, their office will be at the service center.
No.
Don't think so. It's usually in their home.
Yes.
Really?
I'm assuming he has other things that he does similar to.
Actually, this is his first job. He is actually going to University of Dubuque and is a dual bachelor's and master's program.
12:31 towards the back.
So we get to train one up.
Nice.
As far as the date, you mean?
No, the numbers.
Oh,
Number on the side, 12:31.
sure.
And I can send him our insurance certificates.
How
and
can we
things too,
provide
so.
a drug-free if they're working out of their home?
Are we? I
Or
don't
the
know.
contractor?
We are, the fiscal agent contractor.
Well, I don't know what to tell you on that one, sir.
There's different clauses in there, I seen that.
Mhm.
Technically could be striked. Don't need to be in there.
I know that Erin has her office in her home. The gal before her, help me with that. Who was before Erin?
Heidi Schmidt.
Thank you. I could see her face, I just
Yep.
couldn't put a handle on it. So, but she also worked out of her home. And this is the same contract that's been time and time again. When we started in with the service center, we had offered the office space and it was declined. So, I don't, maybe that's something we need to ask Braxton. Good point. Because Adam Rodenberg does not use his office much at all. Very, very little.
Right.
So that may be something that would work. Okay.
I
So,
just seen different clauses in there that I thought.
do you want to,
It's all right, let it slide this, now, but I would say next year, when we're due for the renewal, some of the clauses, I can't remember how one of them was stated that, office space will be, something about clean title. You know what I mean? I can't remember what number that was I read. I mean, so I mean, that clause does not even have to be in there.
okay, if you look at item 4, or page 4, you'll see who the contractor is.
Okay.
So that pretty well takes care of that 12.31.
Okay, that I understand. 11/7 here on this one.
Well, I think, I've got a copy.
Sharing is caring.
Okay, represents and warrants that title to any property assigned, conveyed, or licensed to Benton County, Iowa, DCAT, Benton, Iowa, DCAT, sorry, not Benton County, is good, and that transfer of title or license to Benton, Iowa, DCAT is rightful, and that all property shall be delivered free of any security interests or other liens or encumbrances. Well, that's if he conveys or licenses to us. I doubt he's going to convey his residence to us.
We have to keep in mind that, Iowa County's approving this as well.
But theirs is gonna be a separate one.
I'm
Is he
for,
gonna be theirs as well, you know?
improving it. Just-
Yes.
He'll be their coordinator too.
So it's just one contract.
You would like maybe some guidance from
Because we're my counties.
It was
county
her,
attorney?
yeah.
Okay, you want to put this on? He's not going to take on over until the 13th. And so, do you want
But
to
I
put
think
this?
they have to keep moving forward to get it in effect by the 13th, okay? Because that's why I have to send the insurance.
Well, it's just, well,
The
My-
one that Christie
well,
said
can't-
needs to be done right away. This
These
is,
two big ones,
Yes.
is that one? Okay, that
Yeah.
one's between us and
yes, because that one's basically just saying that the board takes on responsibility
Yeah.
for supervision.
yeah, these are the contracts for the actual DCAT stuff that she has to get going to move forward.
Okay, but this, we could get Dave Thompson's opinion on the contractor, questions that you had,
Mhm.
correct? Am I correct?
as far as I know.
Well, it's just, if you've been doing it this way,
We have been.
let it go, but like I said, then after we sign it, then, he can look at it that if he agrees with me, then next year we'll change it,
Mhm.
is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Don't hold things up.
All right, I don't have a problem with that. You need 2 of these or 3?
One's for your copy,
Okay.
and then
One's
one,
for
it goes with Braxton.
Okay. Well,
So that's
we
why I
can
had
get
two.
the copy I printed off, which is not signed,
Okay. Okay.
coming for,
I have it on email too, but
Oh,
I
do
can
you?
forward it to you if you.
I
Send it
got
on
it right
there.
here.
I got it too.
Yeah, sure.
That you did send.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. Well, then, do we get a motion to?
well, these two, for sure.
Okay,
We'll do them one at a time. I'll make a motion for, I gotta think of his first name,
Braxton.
Braxton,
okay,
contract
all right,
with Benton County.
Second?
all right. Motion is by Tracy, seconded by Gary, to approve the contract, DCAT contract between Benton County and Braxton Scott. Okay. Tracy made the motion, Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, Gary, you've got a copy over there I'm gonna need, because we need 2 of them signed. And that was to authorize the signature on these as well. Okay, very good. And then these are separate, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and how are they
There's
titled?
the contract numbers.
Okay, all right, here's a contract number, the DCAT contract number,
Department of Human Services.
and right here would be agency, okay? There's 2 of these.
It's one's for the DCAT deliverables and one's for the CPPC deliverables.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I think one, the different numbers will tell them.
get that? One is DCAT, one is
BBC.
CPPC. Okay.
Community Partnerships for the Prevention of Child
It's
Abuse.
easy for you to say.
Yeah.
I work in the church. I'm used to acronyms all the time. How we
There's a
speak.
lot of acronyms in government.
Yeah.
How about this? I'll make a motion to accept signing of the contract. DCAT.
Contract.
Yeah, contract 421-021. Work for you?
Works for me.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Tracy made that motion and Gary seconded for the DCAT contract and number as stated. There we go. And Gary seconded yes. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Okay, then I'll make another motion to approve the contract with DCAT 421-024.
That one's probably the
That's
CPPC one.
CPPC.
They don't say that.
I can decipher them somewhere.
Okay.
But I bet there's the-
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Tracy made the motion to approve the CPPC contract and Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
So that's all three of them?
that's the three.
We're all
Wonder
three
if he
to,
was just gonna take these. She hasn't wrote back yet, so maybe we'll give her a call or something.
I'm not 100% sure what is. So I'm assuming that if Christy's emailed you, then that's probably what Christy's expecting to have happen.
Okay.
So she knew that I was coming and that Braxton was supposed to be here, but
Otherwise, you can reach Kristen at if something changes, is all she said, so.
no problem. We'll just go with someone's picking them up and someone's
Okay.
picking them up.
If Braxton will help sign this, then I assume if he shows up.
Yes,
Okay.
which he has messaged me.
Well,
Okay,
he's also supposed to sign these.
yeah, so
Yeah, that
I'll
one's
keep those
yours.
then, because there's a girl coming later today to get these.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you have to turn in the insurance and all that other stuff.
All right, I don't see where we're to sign on here.
Start in the back of that one.
Don't see it. There you go.
Not, oh, there was one, I thought I just skipped it. Sometimes like the watershed ones are in honest place. There it is. I saw it.
Is it in the back? Is it in the front?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry Braxton's not here in time.
That's okay. If he still comes in, we can get a signature and then.
Perfect.
As long as he
Even if
knows
it's-
the time to do it for one is when
Yep.
she's picking them up, so.
Will do. I will track him down.
Very
Okay.
good.
Thank you all very much for your time,
Thank
your
you.
support. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay, you went to number 7, which is the transfer of funds.
Yep, I have resolutions, so if you wanna look these over, you don't have to sign them, but this is where I transfer from, we have more than one resolution, so. We transfer from the local option sales tax fund to the different other funds. And then these are the inter funds between general basic secondary roads, etc. So you don't have to sign those, I'll put them in the minutes and we'll sign them on the minutes.
But they're separate resolutions.
Yep. So there'll be 2 different motions. And then you need to do the commitment of funds, like what was left over in the fiscal year.
see where the funds are being transferred from to.
I was waiting on that.
Okay. You got that one, huh? Well, Lisa was 420.
I have to put the resolution. And did you sign it? First. You changed to the .gov.
We don't need
I don't think so.
any formal action.
It's reimbursed.
Reimbursements are good.
If they encourage us to change it to .gov, then Kevin wants to get reimbursement from us. And then he's got the invoice. So it's the website charges.
50 by 50, that ain't that big.
Yep.
Did you see the salary certificates?
I did
Certifications
scan them
that
in,
came
so.
through, all but this
All
one.
but one.
Yeah,
Okay.
did I scan them to you with the one
I don't
When
know,
did that one come in?
last night?
403.
yeah, I don't know if Gary had seen these or not.
I think, didn't I
The
scan them
rest
to
of
you?
Yes, you
Yeah, I
did.
did.
Yeah,
I thought
you
I
sent
did.
them, yeah.
Here, you wanna look at this? You got our email.
Just got
Plan
it.
here. Cemetery. $1,000.
Oh, they got their quote?
Yeah. But it's only for a 50 by 50 foot area.
The one we talked about, we found it drawn in, but couldn't find any deeds back that far. But it was perfectly square drawn in, all the old plats,
Okay.
so. I think they're pretty safe. Hopefully the graves are within that.
So 1165 to go on, that's that ground penetration.
Yep. Yep. The emails from the guy from Benton here that you know.
Oh, from Wayne.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Is that what they call the ground penetration? Is that what they call a grid survey?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not horrible.
No, I thought a lot more than that.
Yeah. Okay, we have two items floating around here. One is two separate resolutions to approve the transfers of funds and the inter-fund transfers for fiscal year 20.
There's one in here.
Now you're on something different there, Gary.
Okay.
Okay, so could I get a motion and a second to approve the resolution transfer of funds? And then,
That's to close out this fiscal year.
The last one is for this current year, we'll go ahead and do that one today, and then the other one is for the next fiscal year, we do quarterly. We transfer a quarter amount every quarter of that total amount.
Okay.
Lost, we always do at the end of the fiscal year.
Understood
And
that.
those other
That
ones.
one I understand.
Yep, the other ones we'll do quarterly to the different funds, so like Myron,
Okay.
once the
Understood.
taxes are collected, we kind of give it out sparingly.
Understood. No.
so.
Motion.
Can you do both? No, we can't. do both
Well,
at the
there's two
same time.
resolutions, so no.
So,
So you wanna do the transfer of funds first from lost to the other, that resolution?
Yeah, do the last one first.
okay. Alright, so Tracy made the motion
Second.
and Gary seconded for the transfer of lost revenue funds, which is
Yes.
the year end.
Yes.
Okay, and this is by resolution. Could you read that resolution number?
2044.
It's 2045,
Yep.
so, okay, 2044. So, Tracy made that motion, Gary seconded, this is by resolution,
Shank aye.
Seaman, aye.
and Primer, aye. Now 2045, this is the quarterly transfer.
Motion to
Okay.
approve.
Alright,
Second.
so Tracy made the motion, Gary seconded, resolution 2045. Call for,
Seaman, aye.
Shank aye.
and Primer, aye. Call for vote is what I was trying to say. All right. Anybody coming in for that, item 9 or not?
No, just what I did again, the
Okay.
letters, and then I have the resolution.
All right. Well, you got a resolution?
Yep.
Printed up?
It should be hooked to those letters, I believe.
Okay, then Gary's
So
got
it's number 2046.
2046.
Yep.
Resolution to approve the salary certifications for deputies in the auditors, recorders, treasurers, sheriffs, and the county attorney's office.
So moved.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what they don't call me.
John Winterman's wages set at 85% of the sheriff's salary.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not currently attached to sheriff's salary. John Winterman's wages. What's the deal there? I don't understand that.
what's that now?
John Linderman's wages are set at 85% of sheriff's salary, and right now they're not tied to the sheriff's salary.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, they
It's
are.
always been a
Always
deputy.
have been.
It used to be when Mike Ferguson was alive, they had 2 deputies, and then Ron took the 1 deputy position and split it between 2 sergeants. He was 85% last year as well.
I think that back when Copenhagen was there.
Yeah, it was always
Yeah.
Mike Ferguson, and
Well, Copenhagen was Forsyth.
It
Yeah.
says right on there,
he might have.
sergeant's wages are not currently attached to the sheriff's salary.
No, they're not based on a percentage anymore, they're a lump sum, so that's why we didn't put it in this year's.
Okay.
Because he divided out that remainder, the different,
But
that last
Lindeman's
year.
not sergeant,
chief deputy.
so, okay. Does that make sense? Okay. You made the motion?
Yep.
All right, this is resolution 2046.
Yep.
Second.
And Gary seconded, and it's by roll call.
Seaman,
Shank aye.
Seaman, aye.
And Primer, aye. And we need to sign these.
Well, you
Or
can
you
sign
wanna
them in
do
the
it
minutes,
later?
that's fine.
Okay,
Yep,
all right.
I'll just take those back in my
And
file.
Primer, aye, yeah, I said that. Okay,
So I have
8,
from Dana, and then she also got this yesterday, so if you want to acknowledge both. Another driver resigned yesterday, so she's not having a good peak. Jeff Ely. So I didn't know if you wanted to, you just basically acknowledge them, put both of them on.
Yeah, you can't do that on the bottom.
no, okay. Jeffrey Ely and Scott Hefker.
Yep,
What's the deal? I'm having so many resign.
well, Scott went out to work for the weed department, I guess, and they offered him to stay on there or something.
Okay.
So Dana's pretty bummed about that, because he's good at the maintenance and stuff too over here with vehicles. Hopefully, she said she's got it advertised.
So, is there a motion to accept their
So moved.
resignations? Jeff Ely and Scott Hefker.
Know what else? Well, there ain't nothing we can do about it.
Mm-mm.
This COVID thing.
I'm
You
letting,
seconded, did you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gary made the motion. Tracy seconded to accept their resignation.
okay.
Thank you.
I'm emailing a couple of the department heads, and they wanted to come in and talk on that other stuff, so.
With item,
The COVID stuff.
okay, for item 13.
Yeah, and
For
Ron,
Ron's
with the
coming in
update on
for,
10 and 11 too, so. I told him around 10, so
all right.
unless you guys want to do any reports.
Well, I have one I'll throw out there. This is the Central Iowa Juvenile Detention Center. This is the, as you know, we're ending towards the fiscal year. We had a $10,000 allocation towards Central Iowa Juvenile Detention. As of the 11th month, we were $150 over our budget, and we still have 1 month to go. This shows, I didn't put anything on the back. I tried to highlight that, and then I highlighted, this is the detention report. And basically, there's not a lot you can do about any of that. It's just what it is.
Wow.
This is the activity. Benton County's not on that activity report.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Good, they were not ranked.
That's what I had for a report.
I had Easy Cog and Eastern Iowa Housing last Thursday. That ain't fun.
Eastern Iowa Housing.
Yeah,
Are they still helping with that new development here in town?
yes they are.
Because it seems like there's quite a few there.
Yes, I don't understand. Mossman's in charge. Somehow the money gets
I think
passed
it's been
through
like
him.
a corporation,
him.
like an LLC type of thing. There's
Okay.
a few of them that are invested in that development.
They had a lot of checks made out to him anyway. And
He might be doing all the closing fees and title opinions.
not much to report, really. You know what I mean? That Zoom meeting, you can't.
Yeah.
Originally, they were going to have it. You know
Although
what I mean?
I will be very honest, I like the Zoom meeting with the Central Iowa because
You don't have to travel as far.
it's an hour and a half each way,
Yes, I can
and
understand.
you're up there for a meeting that lasts anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours on the average.
Perfect time.
And so, and I've got one of the shorter distances.
Yeah. And see, then I was supposed to also have them at 3 o'clock on Thursday. I was supposed to have the WMA up to Cedar
That was
Falls.
close. Sometimes they're not.
Kind of the COVID.
Cancel that. and
Yeah.
Went to,
Now that's going to be in July. So it's been pushed off,
Sure.
pushed off, pushed off.
You have no camera? You're on candid camera. Smile.
Back in the corner.
yeah, right now, there aren't any corners. Other,
There's
if
not.
you can squeeze behind the
I
camera.
was,
No, I've been told everybody likes it this way.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
So they can hear you three.
Can't hear you?
Yeah, I'm sure, but
Okay. All right. Any other reports for you?
Good enough.
Okay. Gary,
Oh,
we'll just finish this up.
this children's thing for, we gotta get the kids included in this mental health thing. That's the struggle. We're working with the state, and we've got language in our, we're fighting with the state to get that. And there's some people at the state that I think they got a little, I think they're a little iffy on our language. But the problem is, as I see it, is some of that, they're demanding, and it's really under county's control. And gonna be interesting to see how it turns out.
Yeah, still in committee then, I take it.
Yeah, we're working at it.
It's a tough deal.
Okay.
We've got a newer manager that's pushing pretty hard to get our language.
Alrighty. Sheriff?
Morning.
Oh, we're waiting for
Call
Alexa.
for the sheriff, call you treasurer.
I guess. Do you wanna talk about that vacant office while we're waiting for Alexa?
Okay.
Service center, other than Dick wants it for a man cave? Did you hear that?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's something else.
On Tuesday
Well-
at 2:30.
The way he treats the food pantry people, I'm sure they would agree with him.
Oh, yes, they'd
Yeah.
love to have it,
Oh boy, they enjoy him.
Can't have them, I agree with you.
and that may change. House File 2502,
Oh, white guy.
signed by the governor, takes effect tomorrow. And it says,
Says Dick can't have a man cave.
almost,
Did you hear that, Dick?
a political subdivision of the state may restrict the carrying, possession, or transportation of firearms or other dangerous weapons in the buildings or physical structures located on property under the political subdivision's control if adequate arrangements are made by the political subdivision to screen persons for firearms or other dangerous weapons, and political subdivision provides armed security personnel inside the building or physical structure where the restriction is to be in effect.
Put that in layman's
Yeah,
terms.
like that's the-
The way I read it is, any building that the county is restricting the carrying of firearms into, you're gonna have to have somebody there to screen them. But we can't restrict that building.
So it sounds,
So you could put the signs at that other building if we didn't have somebody to screen them.
You could put this, I'm not sure the signs would then be legal.
Okay.
We'll probably have to move this to the county attorney, but the courthouse, county courthouse weapons prohibitions, the Supreme Court or judicial branch order that prohibits a person from lawfully carrying, possessing, or transporting a weapon in a county courthouse or other joint use public facility shall be unenforceable unless the judicial order applies only to a courtroom or court office or to a courthouse used only for judicial branch functions.
so as long as you have a permit to carry, you are allowed to bring your firearm into the courthouse.
Could be. If the county says, we don't want firearms in this facility, and if you have a screening process and armed personnel screening them, you can do that.
You can prohibit
You can
it.
prohibit that, but if we don't have those things in place, we can't prohibit it.
So here at the courthouse, we're
Covered.
good, we're covered with that. But at the service center in particular, we are not, unless we keep someone over there full time. But are we going to have a, I want to say a scanner, I think, metal detector to run through?
We have handheld things that can do that part of it.
Okay.
It's a wand. I'm very leery to think we should put in another x-ray machine. Everybody that comes in there for appointments has got bags.
Some of this, do we want to go into closed session on or not? I mean, we're covered if we wanted to, so on what we talk about,
I think maybe we should
put it on.
put this on for next week,
And then put closed session.
go into a closed session
Are we
to
gonna
really
have to get, well,
into the security end of it.
on, And this is above and beyond recommendation for the security committee. Isn't
Well,
it?
Yes.
the governor gives us the order, yeah.
So we would probably have to have a security meeting, and then come out with a recommendation there and bring that to the board. That, the way we're set up, would be talked under a closed session.
When's our next security meeting?
11 really make it.
Sounds like about Thursday.
This week.
Better check with Julie,
Better
because
check with
people are, a lot of people
A lot of
gone, because
people are
we're
gone.
going into the holiday week.
Right.
Okay, you know, I asked. but-
Okay, see if she can set one up for Thursday.
Or, you know,
I just sent her an email about the judge.
yeah.
And then this bill also talks about shooting ranges and things like that. Which also comes back under your control. Appears to me like they moved us all back to, under the home rule. It's kind of the way it appears to me it's all gone.
Okay. Well, we'll probably have more discussion while we're in a closed meeting. So,
But it is public information as far as the bill. Because I printed it from the internet.
all right. Well,
The,
there'll be more on that to come.
Yes.
You've got some information on the Rural Access Center.
out in the service center, I can't remember if it's, Imagine the Possibilities. The group that was in that last office.
Horizons.
Down Horizons, Imagine. Somewhere in there, one of those groups changed their stuff around. Abbey Center had been interested in moving in to a spot out there. They're currently located, cornered over here next to the Governor Sherman building. I have made a call, put out a call to the director, invite her back out to take a look at, because we would have to, they have to have some private office space for things they do. To take a look at the office space that Tracy and Trevor constructed.
But isn't this they were located over there in the Sherman building, and then they basically went to Buchanan County, didn't they? Isn't that the group?
Abby's still here. They're actually run out of, there is a satellite office type in Buchanan County. The Abbey, there's many things under their umbrella,
Okay.
and mental health is part of it. They were interested in being located in the service center because they thought that was a very good fit for them.
And this would be right next to the access center.
Yep.
Because it was Horizons and then the access center.
So, with your permission, I would like to have the Abbey come out.
And they would pay us rent.
They would pay rent. And look at the offices that were built and see if those would be of sufficient size.
I assume we'd build them out, kind of like we do with utilities and stuff.
You guys have a formula you use
As a
for that?
percentage off the layout of the room and stuff.
Use that formula. To give them a,
Speaking of that, somebody would probably need to take that sign down off the building, or will they do that? Horizons, a big sign on there. On that entrance.
I would be
Yes,
amazed
there
if they would take it down.
I didn't know if they want to take it with them, because that's a pretty big sign.
They want to have Rick and Justin take it down.
I would say, 'cause they're already out, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
And then we were gonna touch base on the access center too for Trevor, at least. I know Tracy and Trevor have put a lot of hours work
I
in
think
there.
we should do something to pay them for their time.
And the materials for sure you're getting reimbursed for, right? So,
I got a grand total so far for the whole thing, $1,749.57. The
that's
reason
for
why I
materials.
originally said 1,500, we had a window in.
They didn't like the first one, though.
That's just materials, no labor.
Yeah, that's
So-
just labor. And then, baseboard, which was just laid on me
Yes.
on Friday.
Yes.
So it's got baseboard on the outside of the offices, and then on the inside, I will get with Barnes to get the right color of coat base and glue it on.
Okay.
I did not plan on doing it. You know, I kept the drywall off the carpet 3/8 of an inch. The girls did not paint that part because they wanted baseboard.
So I feel, I mean, that'll get reimbursed from the mental health.
Yes,
It'll
I
still
think we
pass through
should.
in and out, but
Sure.
I know it's up to you, but I think you're still worthy of, we would just disclose it in our audit that we have a related party transaction.
Well, you need to come up with what your hours have been.
I got 34 hours for him. I don't want nothing.
Well,
Because if we would have had to pay it out, we would have had to get something,
I think we should,
come up with the wage amount and stuff.
if Tracy doesn't want anything, that's his business, but we should compensate his son, because he's,
And it looks really nice. If you haven't checked it out, you
yeah, if
really
we get a
should.
chance to stop out.
may
So,
want to,
they're
get
moving
with-
desks today.
What's that?
They're moving the desks in today.
why don't you get with Tracy
Okay.
and talk about compensation? Okay. All right. Because we're gonna wanna get, if we need to go to the other room, we may need to continue.
If he's
Right.
willing, you'll be farming, so you don't know.
Okay. All right, very good.
As long as you got Tracy there to ramrod it, other people can cut the boards. I even helped for a day.
Wow, and then you gotta talk to Dick about his man cave. And yeah,
We can find a
give
closet.
him your condolences.
Isn't there a private bathroom in the hallway there?
I don't
Maybe,
think so.
maybe use that walkway between
The little
buildings.
toilets are from little kid sizes still.
Oh, yeah, they
And they
are.
are.
Would be a
They're
nice
like,
spot
you know,
too.
when you're at the elementary school.
A little warm, a little cold.
Now, on another side note, Sarah approached me Friday when I was there, and she's worried about,
I know.
okay?
Well,
I said
Have
I'd
to
bring
look
it
at
up today, and
look at it. See what it's gonna cost.
somebody for cleaning.
Oh, yeah,
See, Dick's been doing it.
right. It's just a matter of if we wanna get back with that.
She tried
The Lutheran
getting
home.
them to come, and sounds like they're not interested.
Oh,
No, that's what Sarah
well,
said.
because Penny and I had talked with the DHS, Penny and the Lutheran home. They were willing to start back, but Penny said at this time it wasn't necessarily because DHS was still working remotely
Okay, well,
enough
see,
that they
Sarah
weren't.
was worried about the bathrooms and the
Okay.
doorknobs, and
And something that I would be interested in doing is, we have not had our, what we call the utility officer position. They brought people to court, they did maintenance at our building. We haven't had that since Gary retired. It's very cost effective to have somebody in our facility doing those things. And I think we could free that person up for some time every week to go over there and do those things. And that could be paid for out of the fund balance.
I would think it would be.
Our, because there's gonna be, from what we put in for the budget, the big trip to Pennsylvania for the CIT International was all canceled. So they'll be,
Other than getting it approved at the regions, if they had to specifically know what those were gonna be used for.
don't think that would be, we'd have to cross that bridge.
Yeah. I don't know when your next regional meeting is, but it
Just
might
have
be
one.
worth talking about.
So, towards the end of July, they'll have another. Interestingly enough, means we're talking about that building and everything, our project here has been well received and successful. The region they are looking at funding two more of the liaison positions in the region. Cedar Rapids has a grant and they're putting on a second officer. We have one, and the mental health region is looking at trying to fund two more. So it has really been a good project.
Good. Very good.
That is when you hear talk of police reform and the defunding and where they want the money to go to, that's the projects they're talking about. You gotta dig pretty deep to find that.
So do we wanna talk about any COVID updates? How it's working out with you girls with your appointments and stuff?
My office has been great. The appointments are working out. We can work around people if somebody's off. You know, we don't have a lot of people standing in the hallways. And we're still issuing about 30 licenses a day, so that's pretty good for driver's license. And the girls all love the appointment times. And it's given us a little bit of time to get some of our other work done too, because we still have a lot of mail, tons of mail, stuff they leave in the drop box. People really like the drop box.
Good. And I know that, have you ordered that Dropbox?
No, I have not.
Somebody was on vacation Friday when I was up here.
Me? I get a day off once in a while.
But for us, it's worked really well. I know we'll probably continue it through the summer just because people are gone trying to work everything for sure. Driver's license, a lot of counties have talked about driver's license too being appointment only permanently for them because it's worked so well. And even the DOT stations are thinking about doing appointments only too, forever.
Speaking of that Dropbox, we still want to go on this side though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did talk with Jansen. They're about done. Once they get she said if we really wanted to leave that on in there, they could. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. If it's inclement weather and it's rainy, if they're standing out there,
I've heard people comment they like the awning.
But
Yeah, make it
it
look
wasn't
low.
intended for that use.
Right, they may
But
not like the
But it's
actual
worked
look
out
of
with
this,
all the
but
rain
yeah,
They
I'm
like
standing around waiting to
the
get
function
in.
of it.
in the sun and
She didn't think it would be a problem, but we would just have to tell them if they want to leave it around a little longer until they need it, or
A little longer is different than the whole summer.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, they have other places where they go and set up too.
Right.
And I have no idea what it would cost to do such a thing. Because you wouldn't want one of those loose ones.
you know, the guys actually, we were talking about it one day, they thought it'd help with the wind this winter.
If you had something more permanent structure.
Good.
Because we have such a hard time with the wind and the door.
So I don't know if that's something.
Thought we
that we
priced
could
one.
quote on. We talked about extending that out one time back before the security, so that we'd have the scanners and stuff, a little
Yeah.
more room, but that's as far as we really got.
Yeah, I don't know that we actually did any pricing, and if it's something that's gonna attach, then it needs to be aesthetically correct, and I don't know because of the, aren't we on the National Registry?
Yeah, you can't
Yeah, I
attach
don't
that
know that we could, correct, I don't know that we could do that. So, yeah,
That would be, you'd want it, I don't know, clear black plexiglass or even smoked plexiglass. I'm thinking like a sun porch opening,
sure.
but then again, that's gonna be more cleaning for our,
Maintenance.
maintenance
You know, if
crew.
we do something, I'd like to see something more on a permanent
Well, that's what I'm
type
thinking too.
basis, even with a door there. It acts like having a storm door on your walk-in door at
Mhm.
home.
Mhm.
You
Well,
know,
and I've noticed too that when in
Or
those
an
hot
entry.
days, when those people are standing out there in the sun waiting to come in, when they get their temperature checked, you gotta give them time to cool off.
Yeah,
because the
sometimes
alarm
they're-
will go off, because obviously they're hot, so,
Why don't I get a price?
or something.
I know a couple companies.
We should have some in our Department 51 for grounds and maintenance, depending on what.
if it's not attached to the building,
Well, that's what I
it
was
could be
thinking.
butted up
'Cause this
against
ain't,
it.
right, this ain't attached
Right.
now, so.
Because I have a feeling we're gonna be dealing with COVID, even if it's on and off, it's gonna stick
Well,
around.
yeah,
We're currently, we're on COVID on this, we're currently, experiencing upswing in numbers. I think the county was up to 51,
8.
50,
I was
oh,
gonna say, I heard
went up
58
again.
last week.
We continue to meet with the Director of Public Health, should I say that right? And Representative from Virginia Gay. We're still meeting on Mondays. We received our last shipment of personal protective equipment from the state yesterday.
well, they had indicated that there probably would be an upswing once things started getting a little more normal. So,
Enough that several states are now closing back down. Texas, one of them, experienced a large upswing. Now they're closing things back down in Texas.
well, from what I've heard, some of the bars have closed, restaurants back to 50%. Some of the states that border have beaches, some of those beaches have closed again. People just kind of went nuts over.
Well, around here, I think the restaurants have done good, because they're still limiting the number of
Correct.
people they have in there, so I think they've done pretty good, our state's done pretty good.
I think Iowa is doing an excellent job.
Has anybody tested,
And this would-
I would call hot, temperature wise coming in?
No, the highest, it goes on, usually around 99.5, but that's because they've been out, and then once we let them cool down, they've all come back down. We haven't had anybody stay, no. That I know of.
How does this work for your office, Lexa?
It works. It's
Good.
not, I think my customers and us are used to in and out. Let's get them done, let's get
Sure.
the business done, in and out. And I've had lots of people go, when are you gonna open up? Like, I know, it's hard. And so, and a lot of my customers will walk up to the door and say, hey, can we come in? We gotta go, fine, we'll go down and get them, so.
But I just made a phone call and they said, yep, come right over. So I did.
So, I mean, it's working, we're getting our exercise, walking back and forth with the customers, which is fine, but,
I have been made aware of some personnel issues, which I'll be addressing.
Okay.
I think the screening is going well. I have some other issues I need to address.
I did have one person ask me, how come you're not wearing a mask and I have to? I haven't had that, but some of the girls in my office wear them. I told them it's up to them.
I asked him, yeah, do you want me to put one on?
Yeah, I said
And
I
I
can
will.
put one on, and he was
Well,
like, no, it's fine. And then I said, well, actually, when you come into my office, you can take your mask off, because I have shields up, so. I have a
know
sign posted that they can, so.
Julie said that the state is making their staff wear them as soon as they enter our building. That once they're in their office, they can take it off, but it had to do with something if they were to contract it, if they weren't wearing their masks, then some wouldn't be covered. I don't know. It's coming from the judges. So if you see them, they're required to wear policy. State.
Anything else on the COVID thing?
I don't believe we know what the new normal is yet.
True.
And that's what I tell people too, we don't know what
What-
it's gonna be.
What's your thoughts about how long to continue this? I mean, are we
The
gonna,
timeline, yeah.
yeah, are we gonna
Because Melinda, how long?
have
do
a
you
date
limit
that
it
we're
to
gonna
Benton
open
County?
up to the public? Or-
Benton County shut down till we gave them, Tracy had me give them 60 days.
60 days.
So
That was
when
like
will that
August
be?
15th
So then it would, you'd have to open it up to anybody.
for appointments, yeah.
How are you handling your employees when they leave, go on vacation or whatever?
Well, most of mine haven't gone anywhere and don't have any plans. I was supposed to go to Vegas in a week and we're not going because their numbers have really gone up. Joy's she's been going to the lake. That's not all I know. Most of my employees, they've done pretty good. They're not going to the bars. They're not going.
Well, I
Or
mean,
like commercial flights or anything.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what-
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't had that because I was like, I don't know what to do.
I know,
if
that's just it. What are we gonna do if that happens?
commercial flights, they're requiring masks.
Yeah.
And that's from the time you enter the building to the time you exit the building at the next
Okay.
end.
Yeah, but I had a friend that just flew and she's gotta do, you walk past first class, they're not wearing their mask, and then you get back in the regular and they have to. So what's the point? You're still circulating the air.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Well, they tell you, you know, on the plane that it is filtered every X many,
yeah, so.
you know, seconds. and
So I don't
that
know, I know I
type of
have, one that was debating on going somewhere, but we don't, until we know what we wanna do or treat them.
I think we would be,
If I got one less comfortable.
in this situation, it'd probably be prudent for us to keep in contact with the, public health director, who is in contact with the, state public health. Take recommendations from them on how to handle these things.
And also, like, what if you know somebody, let's say an employee's spouse has been tested? And what do we do in the meantime until we know their test is negative? I mean, there's so many what ifs
True.
that
Well,
come
I
up.
brought the question up because, you know, we're getting to the time where people have vacation time, they're gonna take it.
So I do think we need to either come up with an agreement, or, I mean, it's just gonna be, people are gonna question.
Tracy said that there's some of them that are positive that they just sent in basic. They sent in a test that nobody ever took and they come back positive.
Yeah, I mean, that's
No,
what you just
There's
don't
some
know.
testing procedure issues, I understand.
Or you could test negative and 2 days later they said you could test positive. So in that meantime, yeah, you can't control it, but
Well, it's,
everybody's
the
around.
test is just for that given time period. You know,
So
all things can change.
currently the recommendation is to maintain your social distancing, wear a mask.
We don't have the symptoms.
How many people are in Iowa? 3 million?
3.2, something like
I
that.
think they've had 3 million tests, haven't they?
No.
I don't know.
I saw numbers released from the Department of Corrections, Michigan. In their prison system, they've actually, some have been tested more than once, and they've got a whole pile of people in their prison system with it. So I'm not sure that the testing is directly related. The more you test, the more numbers you're gonna
Exactly.
To me, you can't do enough what ifs.
Yes.
You know, we could work here for the whole week and
Right.
get.
And
Well, we're
I,
never gonna run out of what-ifs.
I did
You're
hear
right.
this tidbit of information, which I thought this was very interesting. And it's from Dave Kelchin's wife, so I know it's true. Fairway had over 10,000 people go through there. And this was when the employees weren't wearing masks. And not a single employee got sick.
Well, the odds of getting it is like point, I mean,
So,
it's really,
You know, and I look at, sometimes I feel like people think, why is the courthouse special compared to the Fairway store? You know, too. And
I would like to view, and it's not the best comparison to use, but if you view your courthouse, the jail, the hospitals, if we view those places as kind of along the same lines of a long-term care facility because of the closeness everybody is, if you get it in there. If we had somebody in here who was sick and spreading the virus, we could effectively shut the courthouse down.
Yeah.
So we gotta look at it as it's
Yeah.
a little more on the lines because of the closeness of a long-term care facility. Because if you get somebody sick,
But, you know, your
everybody in
point,
this room's
your point about the grocery stores is valid. You know, everybody's going into these
Everybody
grocery
goes in
stores.
there.
And the parking lots are full.
Constantly.
People in the stores are wearing masks, a lot of them, that.
A lot of them aren't also.
Yeah.
Well, I was in Fairway in the northwest side of Cedar Rapids Friday morning at 8:30 in the morning. Me and my wife were the only ones that didn't have masks on. I was just shocked.
Cedar Rapids is a little different than out here, though.
And if you look at the numbers surrounding us with Cedar Rapids and Waterloo and Tama County's had a real problem. Our numbers are retaining relatively low or maintain relative. I'd like to say that is because citizens of Benton County are paying attention and watching their social distancing.
But on the testing part, while we've grown here in the last week, 10 days, is the ones that are gonna have elective surgeries. And I know of 3 cases in Newhall alone that had to have the test done. One was for having wisdom teeth pulled, the other ones were surgeries, new knee, new hip, whatever, you know. And all 3 of them come back asymptomatic, not sick, you know. They tested everyone, and the one's a young gal, just graduated from school, tested everybody in the family, they don't have it. You know, another one are husband and wives. Husband's got it, wife doesn't have it. So,
I just think it's something they don't really know how it's reacting.
For everything we do know, there's much more we don't know.
Yeah.
Well, bottom line is we're gonna stay as we are for now.
And
Yeah.
even if you guys had decided to reopen the doors, my office was gonna stay appointment just because we have so many people that come into our office, it keeps that many people out of the courthouse.
I think it's important that we keep the Rotunda area
Right?
free. Then there's less cleaning they have to do at night and less chance of exposure.
Do you wanna leave the doors locked?
I would be in favor of leaving the doors locked.
till August 15th at least,
Yes.
that's my opinion.
Well, we need to
That's what-
review it prior to the 15th
Correct.
of August.
Correct,
Yes.
and then you'll know more how it's
Right.
progressing,
Yeah.
if progressing, if not,
Sure.
backing down.
Good
We'll
with
still
that.
let each department have their own discretion on appointments and stuff, or
We were going to open the jail back up yesterday, or tomorrow, but with the numbers on the rise.
for visitors, or for, you need more? You already have.
Yes, we're currently at 17.
You mean like for out of county?
We
Still
haven't.
not doing that. Scott County.
We've had the same ones all spring, so.
We'll pass that down for Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Should I point out them?
That's gonna.
Sure.
On a fresh arrest occasionally, yes, we have, but some of those are in and out the door. The ones that are held, we are, because our population is low, we're separating them for 14 days.
So Kentucky put on your plans to keep the deer away.
That's what we clean the counters with downstairs.
Beautiful stuff.
It works.
Did you tell them about the person that almost entered the building 2 weeks ago for court? Who was staying at home with his mother that has tested positive for COVID?
Really?
Had he not answered the questions
Correctly.
truthfully, he would have been in the building.
That's just it, how do you know if they're being truthful or not when you come in?
Yeah.
Well, you don't ask, you don't know, do you? So it seems like it's pretty simple.
Usually you can tell if they hesitate, like, oh, yeah.
And just for, I'm not sure Lexa was in here, Dave wasn't. FYI, we're gonna try to have a security meeting on Thursday.
We're shooting for like 10 a.m.
Somebody send me the email this time.
Yep, and I'm gonna scan that house file Ron just shared.
Did you review that house file that
10
goes
a.m.
into effect
Well,
tomorrow?
I think it's in the afternoon.
Which one is it?
It's on the, weapons in county facilities.
No, I haven't seen it.
House file sometime.
Brand new,
Yeah,
signed.
what does it say?
Says that the court can only restrict guns in courtrooms, and the rest of the buildings are up to the county supervisors. And that it can only be restricted if we have armed security personnel
Need a highlighter.
conducting the screenings.
I still can't find it. I remember the number, 17.
Kind of in a
I
nutshell,
would imagine it wouldn't change anything we're doing, but.
it won't here, but it could in other buildings.
Are we done?
I think we're done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
I was taking advantage of the weather and getting some house painting done this morning. What did I miss on the code? Are we keeping the status for now?
Yeah, you didn't miss
To the
anything.
15th of August.
We'll review it prior to that.
Cool. And then just a quick question, out of its interest, what was the billboard regulation issue?
There was some concerns on billboards that are popping up and whether or not we would have any ordinance to restrict the number of and the location of distances from right of way, etc. We don't have anything. And so Mr. Mossman volunteered to be on a committee and sort of to look at that in particular, or if there's any comprehensive plan or something of that nature. I recommend to be part of that. Makes sense.
That must be for the small ones you're seeing coming up in the fence lines.
Yeah, more or less, around Newhall area.
Well, they're all over the county.
They're advertising, aren't they, for different businesses?
Yes.
Correct. Mhm.
Quite a few of them around.
Yeah, I've been approached about
Well,
putting
I
them up.
had people,
And quite honestly, if I compare it to storage units, it's a whole lot less work for a decent return. So,
I know it would be. My personal opinion is that they're distracting. I know where they're at, I guess, but I don't ever look at them.
well, but again, let me talk on the business side of things.
Right
Yes.
here close. You drove past one on your way into Benton, big one. Just south of Benton is a giant billboard. What's on it?
Our baskets there.
that's
Been
been
there.
there forever.
Been there for decades. Mhm.
There's one in the middle of town, and there's one just going out of town north. Great big commercial ones.
Yep.
The one in the middle of town usually has something from Virginia getting on it. And it's by the ambulance shed. The other two I have not a clue right now. But I do pay attention to the small ones because they seem to be quite colorful.
Well, and the others have been there for decades.
Yes. I just drive by them and don't even think
Yep.
about them.
So nothing has happened from it. But again, the annual compensation that I was quoted, it's not too bad. It kind of helped pay for some vacation time, I'll tell you that. So,
But how much money are we getting?
well, it varies per location and per size, and whether or not it's lighted or not. So,
I'll find out what the farmer gets.
yeah, I don't want to public record do any quoting. So, yeah. But, yep. But that's where it's at. So, Is there anything else? New business, old business, monkey business? Oh. Nope. Okay. If that's it,
Motion adjourned.
Second.
all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I think that has been.
Uh,
David?
David?